So I was back in Michigan last weekend. I did a little filming, and I'm going to film a couple scenes today for the upcoming episode all about jukeboxes. Because if you're going to collect 45s, you want to have a kick-ass jukebox in the corner of your vinyl lounge. So find out how to get one, where to get one, what to look for, and what to avoid coming up Friday on Rock Mine. Make it a great day and listen to some great music like this. Problem number one, there's only 2 jukebox companies left. So gold era, silver era, you can see these beauties, but wait till you see the price. 1955, 1961, these are sort of refurbs. And I don't have $20,000 to dish out. I just wish I could get a wall unit like the old Doobie Brothers cover or one of these little babies that used to be up at the Nugget. But the silver era, like this one here, is definitely doable. Time for a quick dip and I'll tell you the story. The silver era has a very cool chrome look to it. It doesn't have the bubbler or the bubbles coming up the side. But I wasn't around in 1946. But 1963 is a big year. And the Beatles broke through to America. And these chrome babies are alive with color. And they have a visible mechanism. And that was big for me. Also, the introduction of stereo. So for the first time, you're getting jukeboxes with stereo in them. Bob. Here poolside, enjoying the last part of summer. And I'll tell you what, this episode I'm going to tell you how to get a jukebox. I've been looking long and hard, and finally, over COVID, I found an old jukebox from a Polish lady all the way in Chicago. I zeroed in on the Chicago area because I had to replace my old equipment. This was great for LPs, my sister's turntable, and I had a nice little close and play Victrola that I played in my workroom. But I zeroed in on the JEL 200 because of the stereo, because of the chrome, because it had that Detroit rock and roll feel to it, and it just weighed a ton, but I didn't care. I had my mind made up, so I looked on Facebook Marketplace, and sure enough, I found one all the way in downtown Chicago on the 4th floor, and I got it in my house, and here it is. I'm going to tell you what I should have done. I should have made sure the damn thing worked. I've got $400 into this, and I spent $400 getting it moved from Chicago into my basement. This behemoth is taking up a whole corner, and it doesn't look quite as good as it did in the brochure or in the Facebook Marketplace ad. Only about half of the stuff is lighting up. The keyboard isn't lighting up. The upper right dial's decoration isn't rotating like it should be. The now playing isn't lighting up, and I'm really starting to get some buyer's remorse right now because I realized, oh gosh, the coin mechanism isn't working. The letters, the thing isn't working. That's just how, but I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to tell the wife that I just bought a lemon? So here I am. I got some decisions to make. I don't even know if I can turn it on and off. There's switches and buttons doing research. Hey, Detroit Bob, once you get your jukebox, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get this 400-pound thing up your driveway and into your house. So I ended up having to hire a couple movers, and it took 4 guys, 414 pounds. The JEL 200 by Row AMI. Gotta love it. We're talking about jukeboxes. The name of the show is Rock Mine. Tune in, and if you like it, subscribe. Let's do it. Okay, I'm stuck with it. I don't even know what I got. So many tubes and wires and amps, but I concentrate on the cosmetics. I can replace bulbs, and sure enough, I get the cabinet looking pretty decent. Fluorescent bulbs here.
internet searches there, looking for the different parts here. There's all sorts of cool stuff on the internet, and even got the logo lit up. So after a while, it looks good, but it still doesn't sound good. I still have some cosmetic parts that you just can't find, and one of them was this damn little frame that holds the picture sleeve. But sure enough, I've got a feeler out for it, and pretty soon I strike gold. A guy that started with this and then moved on to this and eventually got a jukebox that was looking like this, I was feeling pretty good. I needed some graphic work and I needed some turntable upgrade, but I finally found that missing frame, and that's what it looks like. And I was feeling real good. My ego was growing by the minute, and I was getting a working jukebox. In the meantime, I started buying 45s and finding out these things are very collectible, very cool, and they're sort of addictive. And memory lane lives in these 45s. So I started collecting them. I got so frustrated at certain points that I just had to walk away from the jukebox and start hitting the record stores. Then I met a guy, a record store owner, said, "You better start entering your records into Discogs. Otherwise, your collection will get so big, you won't know what you have." Boy, I had never thought about that as being a problem. But I listened to the guy, and I went home and I started entering these rare records into Discogs. Well, they weren't so rare, but I found out I had some rare records that I really wanted to get. Bottom line is, he sort of coached me early on to start organizing my collection digitally, even before I had even thought about it. And sure enough, I had my holy grail, and I had already decided it was going to be Beatles 498 with 2 T's on VJ Records. I started looking hard and heavy, and it was fun as hell. But in reality, I just wanted to have some records that would fill up my jukebox and round out my collection. The daunting task of opening up the beast and fixing it was ahead of me. And sure enough, I found a guy from England. I got that sucker up and running before you knew it. It was a hell of a lot of fun. And the biggest, greatest day of a jukebox owner is when you press the button and it plops down your record on the turntable and you hear it play for the first time. Well, this is a fast forward. It took me a long way to get to this point. And let me tell you, it was a learning experience.
All right, so this lady had a jukebox. The problem is it was in Chicago and it was on the 4th floor. She wanted it sold, but I had to move it out of there. And this is 70 miles from my house. I had to hire a moving company and 4 guys because the thing weighed 414 pounds. We get out there and it's one of these staircases that goes like this, 4 stories high. She's a Polish gal. She's got this thing and she thinks it works. The lights work, but she can't play a record for me, and already I'm starting to get nervous. Sure enough, we got it out of there and got it home. So anyways, I plug it in and the dang thing doesn't work. So like I said, we plugged the darn thing in and it doesn't work. So what am I gonna do? I go online. I go Facebook, finding out that there's all sorts of pages for jukebox owners and jukebox repairs. So I find my model and I find a guy in Switzerland, but that doesn't do me any good. One guy says, just buy the manual and read the thing from beginning to end. And that was the start of my repair journey. And boy, was it a journey. After buying my jukebox, plugging it in and realizing it didn't work, I went online and found out I have to read the manual. Fortunately, there's guys that buy these old manuals for just about any model of jukebox you could possibly have. So the 1963 Row JEL with these groovy cats chilling to it was the big thing back then. And sure enough, someone had the original sales brochure. You got the cowboy, he likes it. You got the office guy. You got the office gal or his wife. It's totally 1963 Mad Men styling. Table of contents. This is what your guys used to use out in the field to repair. So you have the repair manual at your fingertips. And one guy just told me, read it from beginning till end. So that's what I did. There must be 1,000 nuts and bolts on this thing. It is all glass, steel, and chrome. But the good stuff is in between the paragraphs where it actually describes what's happening when you play a record. And it shows the mechanism up close, how to get into all the interior cabinets, where all the latches are, how to clean, how to remove the front door, how to install parts, how to take off parts. Everything you need to know about your jukebox is here, because now you have the service manual. And believe me, I've went back to so many pages, I've dog-eared them, and I almost wore this book out. I think I read it 3 times. So there's totally cool stuff in here that you're gonna wanna know. Parts lists, everything about parts, everything about disassembly, everything about the record changer assembly, the phonograph itself, sound system, how to display the records, a revised amplifier schematic, the sound system service manual, credit and unit pricing, everything you need to know about your brand new record player / jukebox can be found right here. And every jukebox that's out there has a manual floating around somewhere. I even got the accessory manual, and this had a few extra little bonuses in there that were missing from the main one. So there you go. Read the manual from beginning to end. If you're gonna buy a jukebox, these things were only meant to last about 7 years in the bar or establishment that it was sold to. So once again, I have an AMI and I have a JEL model. So there it is. I mean, there's probably thousands of moving parts on this thing, and chrome, glass, steel. It was daunting. I even called up guys from Ohio, from Michigan, from Chicago. They said, no, all the guys that know how to fix these things are dead. So if I don't get it done, I just wasted $400 and the moving fee. So my wife's looking at me now and scratching her head thinking he's literally insane. But you gotta be a little insane to get a cool ass jukebox for your vinyl lounge. So fortunately, I found this little page called YouTube. And sure enough, there's a British guy who has the exact same model that I have and who's rehabbing it from top to bottom. 4 hours, parts 1, 2, 3, 4, of ripping apart the guts of this thing and putting it back together. So I spent the winter over COVID literally disassembling this thing, oiling and fixing every circuit, every switch, step by step with my British friend. I gotta love it because I actually got the thing up and running, and the mechanism was picking records off the circular file, and it was slapping them down on the platter. Everything was great, but I had no sound. And what the hell good is a jukebox if you don't have any sound?
In the meantime, my desire and passion for collecting just grew. I'm not saying I was a fanatic, and I hadn't even found or thought of the idea of forming the rock mine yet.
So it turns out I got the mechanism working. What they call the mechanism is the part that picks the record off of the rack, slaps it down on the platter, drops the needle on the record, returns the needle after the record's done playing, and returns the record back to the cylindrical storage system in back of the turntable. And it's crucial because this is the part that gets gummed up and gets messed up. But I oiled it. I went in with sewing machine oil, I lubricated every moving part. I adjusted springs, I adjusted switches. I took together and took apart very complicated mechanical pieces. Got to remember, this was built in 1963, so everything is old school. Once I got the mechanism working, I concentrated on the cosmetics. I changed all the light bulbs. I went and pulled all the keys out and scrubbed them so they would be translucent to the light bulb underneath them. I fixed the mechanism. The upper right-hand corner has like a pre-psychedelic sort of light fixture thing that rotates with some colored gel. I had to replace the gel behind it and the light behind it. And last but not least, there's a little frame that says now playing that actually holds a picture sleeve. And it had been redone with some, I don't know, fingernail paint and some glitter by some kid, the previous owner. Also, there's a little rack where you can customize it and personalize it with quote unquote your name. But the problem is all the letters were gone. So the only thing I could spell was Dan's Man. So eventually this will be Detroit Bob and maybe even Rockmine. Well, it turns out this thing has an amplifier just like a regular stereo system, except it's an old tube amplifier. So I've done everything. I've replaced the tubes. I brought it into my local electrician. He can't do anything with it. Finally, I found a guy in Wisconsin who knows how to fix these things. So I boxed it up, shipped it off, and 6 weeks later, I had a working amplifier. All I had to do now was reassemble and put the kick plate on, and I had a badass sounding stereo system, essentially.
So what you see here essentially is cosmetics, mechanics, and sound all working together. And believe me, it took a long time to get to this point, but damn was it good. Even better yet, I had really collected some cool looking vinyl, and you could see some yellows, and sure enough, here's a nice red Billy Joe shaver dropping on the turntable. All right, you're probably wondering what these little cards are. Well, if you're going to have a jukebox, you're going to have a lot of these little cards. And it's interesting. Some of them are new. These are produced now on a computer program. You can do it on your phone. And you print it out on a regular printer and print it on card stock. So if you're going to have a jukebox, these cards are the ones that go in the slot that you choose the song for. So there's always an A side and a B side. The A side on top, the B side on the bottom, and Sturgill Simpson is the artist. Now if you look on the lower right, usually that's where the label, so this was on Atlantic, and then maybe there's a disc number. So that's what that is there. This is an older one. You can tell because you can just barely see the perforations, but that would be on Electra EK-4588, Mockingbird by Carly Simon and James Taylor, and Grown Up. Now a lot of times the B-side was not that great. Here's another one with the perforation, so you can tell it's an older original. It's not a new print. Always on my mind, a remake by Pet Shop Boys, big hit. So these little cards go in the slot, and you can see where this guy got jammed up probably. Round and Round, great 80s hit by Rat. And I love how it says hit, oldie. I don't know how that could be considered an oldie, but in someone's book. Now once in a while you'd have a homeowner or a bar owner that had blanks and they would just type them out. So here's one of those. Pretty good job. I've seen these where they're butchered. Allison Road by the Gin Blossoms, Until I Fall Away. That's a good twofer right there. I'd like to have that record. I don't have it. To a lesser extent, we're just writing it down, you know. This is someone who was in a hurry. They didn't have time to type it. King of Pain by the Police. So I wouldn't put that in my jukebox because I just think it looks sloppy. Unless it was old and yellowed, yeah, definitely would do that. Manic Monday, great song. In a Different Light. I think I know that song, but it's the B-side. Columbia, 5757. There you go, Eurythmics on RCA. The Gap Band, Early in the Morning.
Is that the one that has the drum intro that Dave Grohl says he used in a Nirvana song? Check it out. Let me know in the comments. Here's a little thing that's cool. You put that over the top of a regular sleeve and you give it a cool pink cast. Okay, back then I think you just wanted to, I'm going to use that. A lesser known hit by Aretha on Arista. Simply, I mean, this is great. This was it, man. You had to look at these little titles to figure out what you wanted. Rock Me Amadeus, A Beautiful Morning. That's an oldie hit. Okay, Santana. This is one that I printed. Took me a while to figure out. Riders on the Storm, Love Her Madly. Spun Gold series, Electro. So, Into Deep by Genesis. Not my favorite era. You got to have Michael Jackson in your jukebox. So Thriller. I probably would put another one. A good twofer by Michael. I would call that a classic hit. Got My Mojo Working with Rocket 88, Jackie Brenson. Sometimes considered the first rock and roll song. I think this would get the bar going around midnight. You put that on real loud, definitely. Well, you can see this little tab is still on there, so it was never used. The Miracle, Smokey Robinson, that's a great twofer right there. That's definitely a hit. And an oldie on Motown, Tracks of My Tears, the B-side. Swingtown, this is one that I printed out with the Joker. I almost always try to get twofers. If it's for my jukebox, you want to get a twofer. Robert Palmer, great song, but the B-side's a little weak. So I don't think I would put that in there. And you start getting, pretty picky on these. Wildest Dreams, a great late hit by the Moody Blues, but Talkin', I don't know. So Unchained Melody, Hung on You, I don't know. This would go, that's a great twofer. Beginnings with Color My World. This is an original. And sometimes I just find these in boxes of records that I buy. So I always save them. You never know. I might actually get that single just because I have the card. Another way to collect, based off of what existing cards you have. Harvest Moon, great late hit by Neil. I don't know about Old King. Here's one that someone typed out, Monster Mash. I think you would probably have to have this in your bar's jukebox around Halloween time, right? Here's one, a great twofer I printed out. Here's another example of someone. Some of these jobs, take this job and shove it. It almost has to be on your jukebox because a lot of these guys are coming into these bars, honky tonks, whatever you call them, at the end of a hard, long work day, and that's the mood that they're in. And you just start drinking and listening to it. It's really good jukebox vibe. Some of those bars were built around the jukebox. Sort of a bubblegum hit. Heart of Gold, Sugar Mountain. Now that's a hell of a twofer right there. It's got a 2 stamped on it. I have no idea why. So that might be some kind of office code that, who knows. Once again, someone got creative with the typewriter. Disco Inferno, great song, but I don't know about the B-side. This is a minor, well, this was a hit. It was I think it's based on Bach, but it was a hit. B-side, I don't know. I would have that in my jukebox any day. That's a jukebox song if there ever was one. And the B-side's not bad either, Changes in Attitudes. I've been told this Old Time Rock and Roll is the #1 jukebox song of all time. So I have to, if I don't have, I probably have this, but this is going in my jukebox. This episode, I'm going to put this in my jukebox, so I'm going to set it aside. Here's Really Homemade, some kid, right? Who knows? Looks like a kid's writing. And so these are, I call them jukebox cards. They might have a name. Rhinestone Cowboy and Come On Eileen, right? There you go. So if you're going to have a jukebox, you're going to have these cards and you're going to rock out the Bob Seger old time rock and roll. All right, we'll take a look at the jukebox. We'll take a look at how to put the cards in. We'll take a look at how to buy jukeboxes. All right, let's take a look at the Rowe AMI JEL 200. And here's those cards we were talking about. And I'm thinking about doing a Bob Seger edition. And you can see I've got quite a mixture of different acts, a lot of country, a lot of rockabilly. It just seems to play really, really well on the jukebox, one piece at a time. Memphis, Hey Good Looking, all night long. So I've got an empty slot, as you can see here, N8 and P8. So maybe that Bob Seger will go real good right there. What's Your Name, Leonard Skinner. You gotta have some classics, some R&B classics. Some of these are twofers. Lucille, that's a good twofer with The Gambler. I got another spot here, so maybe the Bob Seger will go in there. The Tweety didn't hold up as well. Definitely got some old school stuff. There's Cloud 9, backed with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. We're gonna play that one for you. Gotta have some ZZ Top. This is an EP, so there's 4 songs on it. And remember, this machine has the different type speed, the auto mix. So that's sort of cool. That's a great twofer there. Great song right there. That's on red vinyl too. Pokey Lafarge, if you haven't heard of him, check him out. Great slow one by Cracker. I got another spot there. So I got some room. I can put some stuff in. Now this has got a lower panel too, which is sort of cool. So it's a sort of the split panel. And you can see this little light up here just throws just enough light down here to give you, that's my granddaughter. I've let her make a card. She likes Love Shack. So we know that that's Love Shack. Willie Nelson, great twofer there. Another Cracker. Junior Brown just sounds really good on a jukebox. Polk Salad Annie. I'd like to get a better twofer on that one, but we'll see. This guy's good. Recently passed away, unfortunately. Junior Brown just sounds great. Jerry Reed sounds great on a jukebox. Well, here it is, Old Time Rock and Roll with Turn the Page. This is one of those that I printed, but I think I'm going to put the vintage card in there, so I'll show you how we do that. So we got some other good stuff. Junior Wells, Messing with the Kid. Song for You, Leanne Russell. So there's some good stuff on here, and this is where you put those cards, and we'll show you how to swap out a card. And this is just what I have in my jukebox right now. So it should probably be your greatest 200 songs of all time. I tend to think the jukebox should have good drinking songs. So there we are. That's the panel. I got a few things I got to do also. This panel highlights a picture sleeve. So I'll show you how we change that. And then this panel, it came with these letters, but a lot of them were lost. So I want to make it where it says Detroit Bob Presents, but I'm going to have to get that custom made. And then we'll show you how it works and how the guts. So that's what it looks like when it's over in the corner at your honky-tonk bar. All right, I got this box full of picture sleeves that I've collected. Now, these don't have any 45s in them. They're just the sleeves, but as you go through these different places, a lot of times they'll just give you the sleeve for free if it doesn't have a record in it. So I've picked up a whole box full. I thought about maybe the Beatles, because I have on my Row AMI JEL 200, I have a featured picture sleeve frame built into the jukebox. So I need to pick out a picture sleeve that's going to make it pop. And I thought about the Beatles, but you know what? I'm thinking this one works really good because it's like retro styling. My jukebox was built in 1963, and this has got that look. And even that red is sort of a pinkish red, sort of like a white pink. So I'm going to use it. I think it'll show up good from across the room. If you know this song, it's all about the classic rock era. And I don't have to worry about the backside. But I'm going to put it in there. And I probably will put this 45 in there because I'm pretty sure I got it. So I'll show you how we do that next. All right. This is it. The gem of the week. The Temptations. Cloud 9, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and Ball of Confusion. And look at this, it's got 2+1 German release. It's got the 8-minute, 35-second version of Papa Was a Rolling Stone. I had never heard this before, but it is absolutely fantastic. This came out in 1977. I bought it online and you can still get it for $5. It is great. It's not gonna leave my jukebox. It's sitting there right now. This is the picture sleeve. Nothing really to write home about, but I'll tell you what, it's better than a twofer. It's a threefer. Cloud 9 and Ball of Confusion are on the one side, but Papa Was a Rolling Stone. It's so long, it takes up the whole side. This is only worth $5 or $10, but in Detroit Bob's world, it's worth $1 million. And that's why you get a jukebox, to play songs like this. Let's put it on the turntable and see what it sounds like.
What, I was having so much fun telling this story that I didn't get time to replace that little picture sleeve, but we'll do that in an upcoming episode. It was really fun sort of showing off my jukebox and telling the story about how I got it up and running. I would say it's 90% there, but I got little ditties I got to fix, and I want to do that personalized nameplate that says Detroit Bob Rock Mine. And if you guys like this kind of stuff, subscribe. I'm just going to tell the Americana story through jukeboxes, through old 45 records, and we're going to stick to that Lake Belt region, but travel over to Europe. We're going to go to Florida again. It's all good, and it's coming up. One thing I will encourage you is do your homework when you're buying a jukebox. Don't just buy it and hope that it works like I did. I mean, it was a hell of a good thing to learn how to fix this darn thing. And I got it really cool, looking pretty sweet in the corner right now. Another thing is corner placement turns out to be a key thing, especially if you have side speakers like mine does. So the stereo speaker left and the stereo speaker right actually bounce off the wall in a 45. So if you have this type of arrangement like you see here, it can make your unit sound better. And there's that rotating psychedelic, pre-psychedelic little display that I finally fixed. And I got the colored gel little hobby paper, and I fixed it myself. And the keyboard, bright, shiny, translucent. These things look best when the lights are dim, so make sure you got a dimmer switch. And don't forget, pick up a copy of that German 8-minute, 35-second Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And I'll tell you what, you won't be disappointed. And if you can't find it, you can always get the Motown Yesteryear version. And pay attention to those picture sleeves, because those are the key to making your machine look great. So it's been a great story to tell. We'll tell more jukebox stories coming up. But just keep at it, plug away, find what you want, buy it, get it up and running, and I'll tell you what, you'll find more about jukeboxes than you ever knew was available just by going on the internet and reading about your unit. And maybe it's just a fantasy unit. It's a picture on your refrigerator. It's a picture in your workroom. It's the coup de grace. It's the holy grail. But sooner or later, it'll come. I'll leave you with a little Junior Wells.